need a cover for our new game right now. We started mass producing yesterday and the game comes out tomorrow. We need a cover today or we'll all die.
Oh, I don't want to die. Please, someone save me, even if it's the devil.
I've got a cover for you.
Yeah, I just legitimately do not understand what possible sequence of events could have occurred to make that cover from looking at Mega Man 1. Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Today we're going to be playing Mega Man 1, which is coincidentally the first Mega Man game in the entire series. I'm going to be playing it on Mega Man Legacy Collection though, because Mega Man 1 for the original NES is way too expensive. And by the way, I just want to let it be known that when I was little, I grew up playing Mega Man 1 through 7 all at the same time. So if you're going to accuse me of using nostalgia to rate some of these games, that's completely invalid. I played them all at the same time. Literally can't do it. Like, I drank some rotten milk one time when I was little too, and I haven't since, luckily, but I'm really not nostalgic towards that at all. Anyway, when Mega Man 1 came out, it was a big deal that you were able to choose which level you started with. And of course, in this game, we have these guys as options. You could choose any stage in any order you want, but there is a catch. After you defeat a boss in Mega Man, you gain their powers, and you could use those powers against other bosses. And all bosses have certain weaknesses that can only come from obtaining other bosses' powers. There's also a secret item in Elect Man stage called the Magnet Beam, but we'll talk more about that later. A lot of people's most common complaint about this game is that it's way too hard, and it kinda is hard, but it's nowhere near as bad as people say. The first level most people pick is Cutman stage, just because it's way easier than any of the others. Cutman stage is pretty fun, the level design looks cool and has some CMYK vibes. It's a really easy stage, and most beginner players could beat it, but that's kind of the point. There's not really any hard platforming, and most of the level is just being patient and shooting at the right time, so it's a really good beginner level. I also really like this stage because you can do this! See, the way this glitch works is the screen actually wraps vertically, so the bottom of the ladder can be grabbed from the top of the screen. Oh, you guys don't care how this works? Okay. Cutman's boss fight is really easy too. Every time you hit him, he gets knocked back like it's Super Smash Bros. 64, so you can combo him really easily and cheese out a win every time. But maybe that's just because you're a Rockman and Rock beats Scissors. Right? Blammo, anyway, the next stage most people play is Gutsman stage. Not because Cutman beats Gutsman, Cutman actually beats Electman, but Gutsman's power can get the secret item in Electman stage, so it's smart to go there first. So Gutsman stage is based off a construction site for some reason, but everyone's main complaint about this level is the beginning section is way too hard. I don't know what kind of construction site has this contraption thing in it, but it's not as hard as people say for sure. The way the obstacle works is that when the track looks like this, the platform goes down. But because this specific part of the platform has to touch the track for that to happen, a lot of people end up falling off because they expect this part to be what makes it fall and they jump way too early. But once you know the look right there, Gutsman's entire stage is really easy. Right before the boss doors on this stage and on most other stages is one of these things. I don't know what they're called, but they're big, ugly, and resemble Russian roulette because when you run into these bad boys, they either jump really high and you run underneath them, or you guess wrong and they get you, so that's really fun, I guess. Gutsman's boss fight is easy too as long as you get good RNG. Sometimes Gutsman could just charge at you though, and when that happens there's nothing you could do. But 9 times out of 10, justice will prevail, and blammo, he's deaded. But the next stage is Electman stage, and for some reason the music in the background is straight up Journey. The stage itself is a vertical stage, with most rooms changing by going up. It's probably the most boring kind of hard it could possibly be, because if you mess up one little thing by not being patient enough, you could easily fall down a hole or off a ladder, sending you back multiple rooms, which just isn't very fun. But the stage design looks cool, so I'll give it that. And the Electman fight is fun when you don't kill him almost instantly with the Cutman blade, because scissors beats electricity, right? My entire life, people have been telling me there's no way mere scissors can beat the power of electricity. But today, I've had enough. My entire life, Mega Man has taught me that you can beat electricity with scissors if you have enough power. So I'm going to gather all of my chakra, all of my strength, all of my previously lost marbles, and I'm going to beat electricity with this pair of scissors right here. These ones. Right here. Wish me luck. Wish me luck. Anyway, in Electman stage, there's a secret weapon right here called the Magnet Beam. You can only get it if you use Gutsman's weapon right here, or if you glitch the game like they do in speedruns and just zip yourself in and out of there, but you know, most people go to Gutsman first. The Magnet Beam is the most powerful weapon in the game, because it literally creates platforms for you to walk on, making Mega Man look like Frozone, which is pretty cool. Speaking of pretty cool, that's also the word I would use to describe Iceman stage, because it does look pretty cool. I really like the frozen palm trees in the background, and the art on Iceman stage is pretty good. The stage itself is pretty basic, with the exception of one very hard obstacle, and another obstacle that that most people would say is hard, but really isn't once you get the hang of it. The easier obstacle is the disappearing blocks. This is their first appearance in any Mega Man game, but they'll show up again wherever you don't want them to, don't worry. In the first room, the main things that make the blocks difficult is this weird enemy on the ground which needs to be killed with a special weapon. After you do that though, it's very straightforward and easy. The second block puzzle is the exact same thing, but a little longer. Still very easy and doable. And also you could always cheat. The hard obstacle though is this strange area where you have to platform over these moving and shooting things while enemies are flying at you all over these bottomless pits. It is possible to beat this normally, but beating it normally is not the way to go. Lots of people complain about this area being way too hard, but if you use the Magna Beam, you can cheese it really easily. Now I know a lot of people have a problem with this type of game design and say there shouldn't be a section of a game that's so hard that it would be better just to cheese it, but I disagree. This section is definitely possible without the Magna Beam, it's just hard, so I see it more as a reward for having prior knowledge of the game or just finding the Magna Beam to be able to use it and cheese the section. Either way, the rest of the stage is really easy, and the boss fight with Iceman is non-existent when you use a Like-Man's power. Overall a fun stage though with the Magna Beam. The next stage most people would play would be Fireman stage, because ice beats fire by melting and turning into water, which beats fire. I don't know why there wasn't just a water man, but whatever. Maybe they'll have him in Mega Man 2 or something. Fireman stage is actually very straightforward though. I really like the design and the colors, and the stage is really fun, but it's mostly just go from A to B with some mild platforming in between. Still pretty fun though. Fireman's boss fight though is really fun to me at least. Usually what happens is it's just me and Fireman shooting at each other until one of us dies, and usually I come up on top with 1 pixel left, but I enjoy doing that every time. I guess there ain't nothing like a good old battle to the death, huh?
Hey, kid! Would you like to battle me to the death? Great! Hey, wait, this isn't fair. You only have 1 health. I'll go ahead and do you the honors of weakening myself a little bit to make this a little... Ah, you shot me and my health is at 0!
Yeah, I shot you.
I don't understand how I'm not dead.
You know, when you're packing heat, every battle's kind of a battle to the death.
Somehow the bullet wound and the fact that everything I've ever known about life is currently being disproven in front of my very eyes both simultaneously hurt more than each other. That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I really don't.
I can simultaneously feel my life leaving my body as the pain exponentially gets more and more intense by the second. My entire life.
The last stage out of the 6 bosses is Bomb Man, and his stage has bomb things in the background, I guess. I don't know what those are, but the stage design doesn't really get any different. Most of the challenge comes from dodging these guys' bullets and not landing on the spikes on accident somehow. This guy is also really annoying just because he takes so long to kill and he won't let you run away from him either. The actual Bomb Man fight is easy though, especially when you have his weakness. Nothing crazy, but a pretty fun stage. Anyway, so that's all the boss stages and... What is going on? I just defeated all the bosses. This should be the end. Ah! Well guys, it looks like Dr. Wily isn't defeated yet, and we have a few more levels to beat. Oh no, more Mega Man to play. Anyway, the first Dr. Wily stage immediately challenges you with Russian roulette, as you have to go through 3 of these things in a row. And I can say with great pleasure that I made it all the way through without getting hit first try! Easy dub if I've ever seen one. Anyway, this stage looks pretty cool. It has you starting outside and then going inside, and the first fire obstacle is annoying just because you have to freeze the flame at a very precise timing, and it's not that easy to get them both without trapping yourself and having to wait. Of course, you could always attempt the pixel perfect jump and ignore the fire, but somehow doing that is kinda difficult. The rest of the stage is pretty straightforward, but at the end you have another Iceman-like long section that you could just cheese with the Magna Beam. But also in the immediate next room is a room where you have to have the Magna Beam to progress. So if you didn't find the Magna Beam, you have to reset the entire game and start from the beginning. This is kind of harsh to be honest, but this was the NES to be fair. If you beat the game, you were either never going to play it again for the rest of your life, or beat it again one day. It sucks having to start over, but luckily Mega Man is very replayable, so it's not too much of a problem to play through it again. Anyway, once you get past that room, you have to fight the Yellow Devil, and you can either fight him normally by dodging his attack every 30-ish seconds and shooting one elect beam into his eyeball over and over until he dies, which is fairly difficult at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's a fun fight. Or you could cheese it with the select glitch. Basically what the select glitch does is when you press select on the controller, it works like a pause button, but instead of pulling up a weapons menu, it just freezes the game. But for whatever reason, the invincibility frames reset, so when you pause with the select button, the invincibility frames go away, but the hitbox from the attack and the bad guy are still touching, so you can unpause and pause the game really fast, doing multiple hits from a single attack. And by doing that, you could easily kill the Yellow Devil and pretty much any other boss you find difficult in this game. It's a cheese glitch, and if you've never played the game before, I don't recommend using it on your first playthrough, but once you beat it at least once or twice fairly, I think it's pretty fun to use. Because it would kind of defeat the point of the game if you just walked in on your first playthrough with a weapon as strong as stopping time and killing robot masters at your will, but I mean, you know, whatever.
I'm the ultimate fighter. I can't lose.
Oh, what is this? What power could he possibly have? I can't move at all.
This power is the one-hit select glitch.
Oh.
The next Dr. Wily level have some more CMYK vibes with a mix of MS-DOS vibes in there too. This stage is kinda repetitive and it's probably my least favorite stage in the entire game, but it's really not that horrible. It's just run and jump over these annoying pit bomb things, fight one of the bosses, and repeat that a couple of times. It's fun, but they could definitely improve the refight system at some point, you know, hopefully they will if they ever make a Mega Man 2. At the end, the boss you have to fight is actually a clone of yourself, and apparently the best way to handle that is by picking fire and hoping for the best. That's literally the best strategy. The fight is kinda hard though, but it's still pretty fun. The level after this one is really short, but really fun. Most of the level is you in the water running at full speed shooting penguins that sometimes, if you're lucky, turn into glitched code, which is pretty cool. The boss fight at the end is fun if you know what you're doing, but as a beginner it sucks. What you're supposed to do is shoot the first 3 bubbles until they pop with your regular weapon, then for the last 4 use the Gutsman bricks on the ground to kill them. But if you didn't know that, you'd probably use these Gutsman bricks on the ground first because they're normally not just lying around. And the bricks kill the bubbles in one hit, so you get the first 4 just fine, but the bubbles get stronger and stronger as they come out, so the last 3 are going to be way harder than the first 3 to deal with. And since you're out of Gutsman blocks, you're just going to have to use your regular weapon or something else. But the worst part is if you die in this boss fight after using the Gutsman blocks, they don't respawn, so you have to do the entire boss fight without them until you run out of lives and continue. Luckily the level is super short though, so as a beginner it still shouldn't take more than like 15 minutes to beat the level. The last level is really short too, but it's pretty fun. Most of it is just trying to dodge bullets like a Japanese shoot 'em up after you ride a Gutsman thing across spikes. Also, you see this thing? So that refills your entire health and weapon ammo all the way up, which is really cool, but it's the only time you ever see it. Ever. In any Mega Man game. After that though, you have a much more convenient refight section with Bomb Man, Iceman, Fireman, and Gutsman, which is really fun. After that though, you face Dr. Wily himself inside of a crazy cool looking machine. The fight is actually kinda hard because his attacks do a lot of damage, and once you beat his health bar, another one shows up and he transforms into the exact same machine again, but with his head poking out this time for some reason. But that's also fairly easy to beat, and once you beat him, you finish the entire game. Mega Man runs home and jumps into the air like Jar Jar Binks from Lego Star Wars right next to his mom and dad, I mean Roll and Dr. Light. Anyway, most people don't like this game because they think it's too hard, but honestly people who say that radiate more baby energy than Yoshi mains in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So yeah, Mega Man 1 is really hard, but so is every single other game in 1987. And I guarantee the same people who say Mega Man 1 is too hard couldn't beat every single level in the original Super Mario Bros. Without trying for like weeks or months. Mega Man 1 is honestly a really fun game, and it gets more fun the more you play it, which is really rare for a platforming game that doesn't have exploration or anything in it. You know, if you like Mega Man in general, then you'll probably like Mega Man 1, so you should probably give it a try. Unless that Mega Man game you like is Mega Man Battle and Chase, in which case there is no hope.
What you call an icon, is it? Start a record label, make bitch just hit it. Whoa, I'm high star, cover 5 minutes. Whoa, we are so hot in the business. Last verse was before the award show. Icon tatted on my torso. Me and Moy dipping in the Porsche, so what? I ain't even taking